Well, joining me on the broadcast is Dr. S.Samuel C Rajiv, Associate Fellow at the Manohar Parrikar Institute for Defense Studies and Analysis. So with us, sir. First of all, I would like to welcome you on the broadcast. Now, how do you see Israel's strategy in this war, and what do you get out of it? First airstrikes, and then intensifying them, and then ground offensive getting into action?
Yes, now it's been more than 2 weeks since the original, Hamas terrorist attack on October 7. So for the past 22 days now, the IDF has been striking ground targets, specifically in northern Gaza, where the IDF alleges the Hamas terrorist infrastructure is present. So now I think that, as the Prime Minister Netanyahu has indicated recently, they've entered the second stage. A couple of days ago, they have done a couple of minor ground incursions. The Israeli government and the IDF have said that a ground invasion is necessary to achieve the war aims, which as of now is the elimination of the Hamas terrorist organization. So yes.
Okay. Israel is continuously urging Palestinians from Gaza to move to south because they say that south is safe, but bombardments are also happening in south. So do you think the Palestinians are safe in south or comparatively safe?
Well, I think the IDF has indicated that their focus of operations right now is in the north of the Gaza Strip, where the Gaza city is located, and where the Hamas terrorist infrastructure is apparently underground. So there, and in the immediate aftermath of the terrorist strikes, also the IDF also publicly stated that the north of the Gaza Strip population have to move to the south. But as you've indicated, there are some airstrikes which are also happening in the south of the Gaza Strip, but not as in quantity or number as in the north of the Gaza Strip, obviously. So as of now, the focus of the IDF operations is in the north of the Gaza Strip.
All right. Now, as the war escalates between Israel and Hamas, what's your take on Israel's diplomatic relations with countries, especially in the Middle East?
Well, that's an important question because I think, in the aftermath of the, Abraham Accords of 2020, Israel established diplomatic ties with some of the countries in the region with which it did not have, diplomatic relations prior, including the United Arab Emirates, including Bahrain. Now, as we speak, I think the Bahrain foreign minister is either visiting or is supposed to visit Ramallah, which is a significant development. In the aftermath of the October 7 terrorist strikes, UAE and Bahrain were two of the countries which did not, explicitly condemn the Israeli actions. They have actually condemned Hamas terrorist action also, unlike other countries like Turkey and others, other sheikdoms in the neighborhood, which have explicitly pointed out that even Saudi Arabia have pointed out that the Israeli occupation was responsible for the terrorist attacks, which countries like Bahrain and UAE have not. So with this, analysts are saying that the visit of the Bahrain foreign minister to Ramallah is significant, and the UAE also is part of the Abraham Accord diplomatic partner with Israel. Tomorrow and Monday, it has called for a special session of the UN Security Council. We should know that UN Security Council has failed to pass a resolution 4 times. The UN General Assembly has passed a resolution, but not the UN Security Council. So at tomorrow's meeting also will be crucial, and we have to see how that will turn out.
Okay. Coming on to what you've just said regarding the UN Security Council, they are also holding meeting tomorrow. How beneficial will this meeting be as far as the Hamas and Israel war is concerned?
Yes, I think if you look at the example of the UN General Assembly resolution, which was passed, I think yesterday, it was passed obviously with about more than 120 countries voting in favor. India abstained, obviously, but Israel and the UN have a very we can call it an inimical relationship. Israel has even called for the resignation of the UN Secretary General. At the UN Security Council, obviously, the top 5, veto-wielding powers have the main say, and the Americans obviously and the Israelis have the full backing of the Americans. The Russians and the Chinese can be expected to be critical of Israel's actions. In fact, China has said that Israel's reaction to what happened on October 7 is beyond the concept of self-defense, and it has pointed out the civilian casualties in the Gaza Strip. So, and France also, an important note, voted in favor of the resolution at the UN General Assembly. Most of the Western countries voted against the resolution or they abstained, but France voted in favor of the resolution. So it's a very interesting to see. But obviously, we cannot expect any resolution critical of Israel, because unless you have full consensus and there's no veto
Yeah.
of veto wielding powers, there's no resolution can be adopted. So obviously, we should not expect a resolution critical of Israel to be adopted tomorrow also, but we should wait and watch how things pan out. Yes.
All right, sir, stay with us. I'll get back to you. Right now, we've been joined by DD India correspondent Amrit Pal Singh from Jerusalem. Amrit Pal, connectivity slowly returning to Gaza, and Israel says war now in second stage. What's the latest there, and what's your assessment of where you are standing right now?
Well, that's right. The war has entered what they are calling the second stage. Basically, their forces have gone in. Now they are closing in on Hamas from all three. They're from aerial, from sea, from land. They've done a beach landing in the East Mediterranean beach or the coastline that Gaza Strip has with the Mediterranean Sea. Their forces are inside. They have taken a few tanks inside. Benjamin Netanyahu says that now they'll go to the next stage in a few days after assessing the situation. Basically, what he means is that they will go in for a full-fledged ground assault. While their forces are fighting on the ground, they are pounding bases of Hamas through aerial bombing and also through artillery fire from the Israeli territory. What they're basically, as the military operates, the artillery clears the way, fires into there. Their attack helicopters and jet planes bomb the area. Then their infantry moves in and their armored moves inside. So that's how they are going. They've struck Al-Shifa Hospital. Red Crescent just did a briefing a little while back and said that they've been told by Israeli authorities to evacuate Al-Quds Hospital. The Israelis blame the Hamas from operating from inside hospitals, saying that they are operating from inside the hospital and therefore they need to strike those places. They are admitting that they did strike Al-Shifa. Meanwhile, the UN chief, who is in Kathmandu right now, said that the situation is deteriorating by the hour. So the death count, if the Gazan health ministry is to be believed, the Hamas's health ministry is to be believed, is above 8,000 dead and over 22,000 injured. So that is really what the situation inside the Gaza Strip is. Even while all this goes on, there are raids being conducted inside West Bank. A lot of arrests have been made. 700 people arrested from West Bank. And Israel says they've hit 450 targets in the last night alone inside the Gaza Strip. So that
definitely seems like the situation is certainly critical. Amrit Pal, a lot of Hamas activity takes place underground. So is there any evidence the Israeli bombardment is damaging those tunnels?
Could you repeat your question again?
Yes, definitely. Amrit Pal, I was just saying that a lot of Hamas's activity takes place underground. Is there any evidence that Israeli bombardment is damaging those tunnels where Hamas is hiding right now?
Yes, there are a lot of there is a huge tunnel network that the Hamas has built, about 1,300 tunnels, 500 kilometers long tunnels connecting, some of them opening into Israel, some of them opening into Egypt. So Hamas obviously operates, it's kept its cache of arms and weapons inside these tunnels and is inside the tunnels. They, if you look at the statement of the Israeli Defense Minister, Yoav Gallant, he said yesterday that the earth shook from beneath and we were above it. So basically they are, trying to bombard tunnels as much as they can. But to achieve their stated military objective of decimating the Hamas completely, they will have to get into close combat. That means they will probably either have to gas the tunnels and then flush out the Hamas over ground and then get into close combat and kill them, or they will have to go inside the tunnels. Obviously, they are not revealing their military strategy to us when we talk to them, but they say we have a military strategy in place, and we will take what I understand by talking to a lot of people off camera as well, is that they are trying to, weaken and the Hamas as much as they can before they get into close combat, so that they can, their soldiers can engage with a much weakened Hamas. Finally, they'll have to enter the tunnels.
Okay,
yes.
okay, Amrit Pal, stay with us. We also have Dr. S.Samuel C Rajiv with us. Sir, the Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi said that Zionist regime crossed red lines. Do you see this war between Hamas and Israel, the repercussion of which is a full-fledged war in the Middle East?
Well, as of now, I think the war has been contained. Israel and the IDF obviously are striking targets beyond the Gaza Strip. The IDF has struck targets in Lebanon. It struck targets in Syria also. In fact, Syrian ammunition dumps.
Yeah.
Earlier, it has struck targets as far as even Iraq, obviously, and it has carried out assassination attempts inside Iran also.
Yeah.
But as of now, I think as the Allied force presence is getting buttressed in the Eastern Mediterranean,
Yeah.
It's difficult to predict if the conflict will expand to involve other countries like Iran. But obviously, Iran and it's the groups that it supports, like the Hezbollah and others, are itching to get into the conflict. The Hezbollah obviously has a greater inventory of rockets, which are longer range rockets than even Hamas. So Israel is concerned about the northern, the territory, the group on the northern borders, which is the Hezbollah. But I don't see Iran directly, getting involved, in the conflict. Yes.
Okay, stay with us, sir. Amrit Pal, any updates on humanitarian aid which is being sent to Gaza?
The update is that humanitarian aid, and that's a small glimmer of hope, if I can underline the small part of it, that trucks are going on despite the intensifying military campaign and the bombing by Israel. Trucks are going inside. The agreed number was 20.
Yeah.
Not every day 20 trucks go in. Someday 8 trucks go in, someday 14 trucks go in. There have been days when 20 trucks have gone in. The UN continuously is saying that the aid is much less than what is required. They put the figure at 20 trucks per day. That's the kind of humanitarian aid and relief material that's required, which includes food, water. Water is over there. They are, because of fuel shortages, their desalination plants are not working. So they're drinking very, very high salty water, which is basically non-drinkable water from non-drinkable sources. Now, apart from the shelling and with the hospitals overwhelmed, if waterborne diseases spread, then you have another, the catastrophe goes to another level. But as I said, the aid is going in every day through the Rafah crossing with Egypt, and there are a lot of trucks lined up at Rafah to go in. But the UN chief said that Israel has to relax the monitoring mechanism a bit, because Israel is monitoring what is going in, and so that is causing a lot of delays, which the UN chief says that is the situation is declining by the hour. So to answer your question, yes, aid is going in.
All right, with this, Amrit Pal Singh and Dr. S. Samuel C Rajiv, thank you, both of you, for joining in.